सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। कृष्णं नारायणं वन्दे कृष्णं वन्दे व्रजप्रियं कृष्णं द्वैपायनं वन्दे कृष्णं वन्दे पृथासुतं। सच्चिदानन्दरूपाय विश्वोत्पत्त्यादिहेतवे तापत्रयविनाशाय श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नुमः। यं प्रव्रजन्तमनुपेतमपेतकृत्यं द्वैपायनो विरहकातर आजुहाव। पुत्रेति तन्मयतया तरवोऽभिनेदुः तं सर्वभूतहृदयं मुनिमानतोऽस्मि। जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयादितरतः चार्थेष्वभिज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्महृदाय आदिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः। तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयः यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि। धर्मः प्रोज्झितकैतवोऽत्र परमः निर्मत्सराणां सतां वेद्यं वास्तवमत्र वस्तु शिवदं तापत्रयोन्मूलनम्। श्रीमद्भागवते महामुनिकृते किं वा परैरीश्वरः सद्यो हृद्यवरुध्यतेऽत्र कृतिभिः शुश्रूषुभिस्तत्क्षणात्। श्रीमद्भागवते महामुनिकृते किं वा परैरीश्वरः सद्यो हृद्यवरुध्यतेऽत्र कृतिभिः शुश्रूषुभिस्तत्क्षणात्। निगमकल्पतरोर्गलितं फलं शुकमुखादमृतद्रवसंयुतं पिबत भागवतं रसमालयं मुहुरहो रसिका भुवि भावुकाः। मुहुरहो रसिका भुवि भावुकाः। Yesterday we focused upon what is a Purana. In the vast labyrinth of our scriptures, where does the Purana stand? Who compiled, composed, and because of who we have this opportunity to sit and study these scriptures, or for that matter, even call ourselves as a Hindu, primarily because of Bhagavān Veda Vyasa Maharaj. And we also saw that he is none other than Bhagavān Narayana's avatar himself. Vyasaya Vishnu Rupaya Vyasa Rupaya Vishnave. That he is the very avatar of Bhagavān. Vyasa also means somebody who can expand and expound upon. In Telugu, we have a saying, or a synonym for writing an essay is called Vyasan Rayadam. It is the capacity to expand and expound upon any given point is called Vyasa. And now that we see the extent of his work, that he has compiled the entire Vedic literature. All segments of the Vedic literature, just to learn and memorize it, takes about 50 years, traditionally speaking. Then to compile it, edit it, proof it, and get it handwritten, and then to recheck it. A visionary. In those times when it was only heard and spoken, written format was not there. So for the first time, he introduces the format of writing. It is told that our Gurudev Swami Chinmayananda, when he came to speak on the scriptures in English, strange, right? We are a bunch of Indians sitting, and the language of our communication right now is English. I could speak directly in Telugu. Most of you would understand. I could directly speak in Hindi. The others can understand. But there are many who may not understand those two languages. Therefore, the common language has become English. Today it is quite an accepted thing. 70 years ago, when he first spoke on the Bhagavad Gita and Upanishads, people were up with their arms against him because that was not the tradition. The tradition was to speak in the regional languages or in Sanskritam. Now imagine if just for the medium of speech, if there is a change, there is an uproar, the instruction was just to hear and memorize, the format had changed into a written format. That itself is a great task. Then 18 Puranas, 18 Upapuranas. Just Bhagavatam has about 18,000 shlokas. Mahabharata has 1 lakh shlokas. Ramayana, of course, yesterday we saw, it has 24,000, but it was not written by Veda Vyasa Bhagavan. Then there are several Smriti Granthas. Then he has written, for us to understand this literature, introductory texts. Then commentaries upon various things. One of the greatest commentaries of Bhagavān Veda Vyasa is the commentary on Yoga Sutras of Patanjali Maharishi. Meaning Patanjali Maharishi must have definitely been way before him for him to comment on Patanjali Rishi. Our own, the Sampradaya that I belong to, the Advaita Vedanta, we have a lineage, unbroken lineage, continuous lineage of close to about 8,000 years. Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. An unbroken lineage. When you go into the Western world, the first time I was in US, somebody said, Swamiji, there is a historic marker. Every town, every city has a historic marker wherever history is relevant. So this was outskirts of Dallas. I said, let's go check what that historic relevance is. I said, in 1893, This was the place where the first train was robbed. I'm not joking. That is the historic relevance. 1893. I started giggling and smiling. Internally, I didn't think that it was obvious for the others who were around me or with me. I said, Swamiji, what are you laughing at? I said, no, I'm not laughing at anything. If this was the standard to make a historic marker back from where I come, I think every village, every street, every house, everything would become a monument. Especially in South, where there is not much of an influence of the imposing tyrant rulers. Every village you will find a temple which is close to 3, 4, 7, 8. I have gone to temples which are at least about 2000 years old. Now what do we call that then? So 200 years is a big marker. Right? We come from a tradition where it is an unbroken tradition for about 8,000 years. And this knowledge up until then was only in a listening format. Then came the written format. It is said that for such a person who has written all these different kinds of scriptures and commentaries, compiled our entire Vedic literature into a very easy, robust format. One day he was sitting on the banks of Saraswati river. Do we have Saraswati river in India anywhere? I keep asking trick questions. Bear with me. There is one place where for a very brief short period you see the Saraswati river in its origin. You might have heard about Badrinath, Badri Vishal Bhagavan. So right behind Badrinath, there is a pathway that goes all the way to Vasudhara. There, that was the Swargarohan of Pandavas. So in that particular path, you find this sacred spot where there is Vyasa Guha and Ganesha Guha. So in this place was the Mahabharata dictated by Veda Vyasa Bhagavan and stenographed. He was the first official stenographer. So it was stenographed by Bhagavan Ganeshji. These two guhas are on the banks of Saraswati Nadi. So for a brief period you see Saraswati Nadi there. So it was around that same place that Veda Vyasa Bhagavan was sitting one day. And it seems he was not looking very satisfied, not looking very content. So Narad Bhagavan, he came about and started inquiring. क्यों भैया इतना मुंह क्यों लटकाए बैठे हो? Why are you looking so out of shape? How can I help you? He said, I have written about all the possible glories of Bhagavan. If you look at the Puranas, there is an entire Vishnu Purana also, which also deals with all the avatars. There is Padma Purana, which also deals with several aspects of avatars. But still there is no satisfaction. तसल्ली नहीं हुई. He says, why don't you write about all these avatars as a relevance, as an introduction to focus upon Krishna avatar? That is why in Bhagavatam there are 100 chapters, the entire 10th canto, 10th skanda, is focused on Krishna Avatara. So upon his inspiration, Veda Vyasa Bhagavan started writing this 18th Purana. His son, who is Veda Vyasa Ji's wife, yesterday we saw that. Good. Vatika Devi, who was the daughter of Javala Rishi. Just so that you know, this 4 o'clock time, it is also a time wherein if the fuel of tea is not infused in, one of the benefits of satsanga is you get nice, pleasant, sleepy mood. So I make it interactive wherein I ask questions. And not anything out of syllabus, that which was taught yesterday. So Jabala Rishi's daughter, Vatika Devi, and Veda Vyasa Bhagavan, their son, Shukadeva Maharaj. So though technically in this Bhagavatam, it is the dialogue between Shukadeva and Parikshita, because he gave this to Parikshita who was facing a certainty of death. He was under the curse that on the 7th day henceforth, you will be struck with a snake and that poison will kill you. If it were you and me, we would have gone pillar to post, try do something wherein this inevitability could have been avoided. We would have been panicking, anxiety bouts. Imagine Gandhari had 100 children. And that too she volunteered to tie her eyes. With 100 children, she did not have panic stroke. And with 2 kids and 1 house, it's not a joint family either. We end up having panic attacks. Now, Parikshita, without panicking, he said, okay, now that curse has decided, my end is a certainty on the 7th day. He calls his son. He says, Beta, the responsibility of the entire kingdom which is now established by our grandparents is now on your shoulders. He goes to his wife, says, I think my time is up. In these last moments, I would like to take your request and your permission to take sannyas. Take leave of all of this and go and meditate upon Bhagavan. And with intense vairagya, he leaves home. From Delhi, after you cross Muzaffarnagar, when you go towards Haridwar, Rishikesh, there is this place that is called Shuktal. And that was the place right next to Gangaji, where Parikshita reaches. From Hastinapura, he goes to that Shuktal, what is today known as Shuktal. Because the student was prepped with highest vairagya, the teacher comes searching for that student. Who is the teacher? Shukdev. So to such Parikshita, we'll go into detail of that story again when we start the Bhagavatam as such. So the dialogue happens between them. So such is the positioning of this Bhagavata, which was written by Veda Vyasa. That this is a dialogue between Shukadev ji and Parikshita. So Shukadev ji, right in the beginning, he invokes every time when we start such work, we invoke the blessings of Bhagavān. It is called Mangalacharana. In the northern part of India, we have this habit that whenever there is an inauguration of something, whenever there is a prarambha of something, they don't say iska, prarambh hua kya? They say uska Shri Ganesh kiya kya? Doing Shri Ganesh of something means with the smarana of Bhagavān have you started. So that is the Mangalacharana. Satchidananda Rupaya Vishwotpatyadi Hetave Tapatraya Vinashaya Śrī Kṛṣṇāya Vayam Numaha. Vayam meaning all of us. So he has already included us all in his prayer, saying all of us, the Shrota, Vakta, in whichever generation henceforth, we invoke Bhagavān Śrī Kṛṣṇa, that Bhagavān Śrī Mahavishnu's Avatara, his blessings. Śrī Kṛṣṇāya Vayam Numaha. Numaha means Namaskaraha. Namaskaraha na mama karaha. Though there is no word here mentioned, but just for comparison, there is something called ahankara. Ahankara, loosely translated, we translate it to as ego. Somebody defined it very beautifully. What does ego stand for? Wherever there is individuality so strong that E, edging, G, God, O, out. Ego is that strong individuality which doesn't care, doesn't mind to push God out. What is important? 3 factors. I, me, myself. That in Sanskritam or any other Indian languages, it is called ahankara. What does ahankara mean? There is something called aham, I, and its akara, shape of it. Each person has a visual image of ourselves in our own imagination. Physically, I have these attributes. I am tall, I am short, I am whatever be the attribute. Tall, dark, handsome. A definition. Anyway. Physical description, I have an image of it. Emotionally, how am I? What are my attributes, qualities? That also goes into that image of me. Intellectually, am I smart? Am I dumb? Am I clumsy? Am I sharp? Everybody has an image of themselves, don't we? अपने बारे में, खुद के बारे में सोच. That this is what defines me. When I go out into the world, most of the times, the best aspects of me, I try projecting to the world around me. how people accept or do not accept, mind games begin. My attempt is to push this image of mine to others. The others around are not dumb. Sometimes what happens, I have a certain aspect of me, but I hide, enhance certain things and project it, but the others around know what this fellow actually is. Hota hai ki nahi? But out of goodness, they may choose to reveal that hidden aspect or not. So when the others, in response, their image of my image, when it reciprocates and resonates to mine, matches, it's a safe environment. From inside, we feel secure. If the other's imagination or imaging of me, see, today we talk about the analog physical world and the digital world. Each one of us is carrying a digital image. And if the other's digitization of me is bigger than, better than my own projection of myself, I feel ecstatic. बहुत खुश हुआ. Why? They are reading me something more than what I imagine myself to be. I feel happy in those places. Earlier place it was secure. The other place it is happy place. Why? They see me much more than what I think of myself. So far, so good. Whenever the outside world's image of me, when they interact with me, happens to be less than what I am projecting myself to be, what happens to my image? सिकुड़ जाता है ना? It shrinks. And when that shrinking happens by force, it hurts. There is a friction created. I don't like that. It is a sad environment. I don't feel confident. I don't feel welcomed. To a point wherein I might feel insulted. All these mind game equations begin. But when we come to the platform of Bhagavān, when we come to the altar of Bhagavān, Kabir Das ji says it the best. प्रेम की गली अति सांकरी जिसमें दो न समाज. जब मैं था तब हरि नहीं, अब हरि है तो मैं नहीं. Decide. What is it that you want? If you want him, there is no scope for I, the individuality. If the I, the individuality, persists and exists, who decides whether that is still persisting or not? Nobody can be the better judge other than my own intellect being the witness of it. Numaha Namaskaraha is an attempt wherein I consciously bring myself to the altar, wherein I willingly give this individuality up to bend down in front of that altar. Whenever we as Hindus have to do namaskar, what do we have to do? See, for everything that we do, there is a mudra. Right? You go to the hospital, there is a baby with the fingers on the lips. What is that baby's image trying to tell us? Silence. That is a mudra, right? You don't have to be a Bharatanatyam or a Kathakali dancer to learn mudras. Even in Puja Vidhi, there are mudras. So when we do Namaskara, what is the mudra? We put both hands together. Why do we put both hands together? The left hand is controlled by the right side of the brain. The right hand is controlled by the left side of the brain. I pull both hands towards my heart, thereby pulling my both parts of the mind to that present moment. What is important is that who is in front of me. What is not important is that who is standing in front of me. I is not the important part here. I gather myself 100% to you in your presence. That is what Namaskara first indicates. That Bhagavān, verily in this form, to that Bhagavān I am offering this Namaskar. Supposing there is somebody that you know crosses the path with you and they say, hello, how are you? You pick your head up, and you get back to your phone. Once, understandable. Twice, manageable. Third time it happens. What do you start concluding about the other person when they don't even respond? They get back to whatever else, cell phone here. What do you think? That they are not paying attention. Attention is divided. For most of us, though the eyes are open, mind may or may not be open. It may be out there, somewhere, elsewhere, hanging up in percentages, one place or the other. There is family, there are kids, there are relations, there is job, there are pressures, there is stress. Now you have to go back home after this, then there is dinner, then tomorrow's preparation. One after the other, the mind is constantly engaged in various aspects. Therefore, when we begin, we start with Om 3 times. It is unusually longer than usual. Why? To snap that mind from other places and to bring it here in this present moment. Namaskara means what? Namaste, namaste. Kuch nahi samajhte. No, it's not just an act. It is the presence to be brought into that moment to be able to offer to that Bhagavān. So first, he thinks of that Bhagavān who in his primordial form is Satchidananda Rupaya. Is that conscious joy, happiness, throbbing, who is the very cause of this entire creation. Vishwa Utpatyadi Hetave. I invoke, Shukadev ji says, I invoke that Bhagavan, that Sachidananda Vigraha, Tapatraya Vinashaya. Very casually in Telugu we use this word. When somebody is getting a little agitated, little irritated or anxious, we say, Tapatre Padakan. We very casually use it. Little do we realize that the word is got so much more depth to it. There are three kinds of tapa. Tapa means heat. Heat is usually crossed wherever there is friction. Even rub your hands, you feel the heat. Internally, I want to go somewhere, but the responsibilities pull me elsewhere. Jaun ki na jaun? Should I not? Was it in the Shakespearean paradigm as well? To do or to not? Always there is a friction. At every intersection of life, there is a choice, and these choices, most of us know there is a right choice, and then there is a no, it's not wrong. It's an easy choice. Just like electricity flows wherever there is least resistance. Similarly, we also take the choice wherever there is least internal resistance. So the easy path, easy way out. There is one thing which is absolutely right. We know it. And that is what we today in normal parlance, we call it jugaad. What does jugaad mean? There is one right way, but then there is easy way out. So let me take the easy way. So there is always this friction within. Friction at the physical level, friction at the emotional level, friction at the intellectual level. Body, mind and intellect, there is constant frictions happening. Tapa, traya. Three kinds of tapa. Tapatraya vinashaya. Tapa is the result of papa. Tapa is the result of papa. Now what does papa mean? Whenever there is a deviation at whatever level of our functioning, with wherever the intersection of our responsibility, there is a dharmic way of doing and there is an easy way of doing. Whenever we deviate from dharma, whenever we deviate from that swadharma, that deviation is called papa. There are some which are called ghora papa. There is some which is called alpa papa. Nonetheless, papa. Whenever there is that deviation, there is friction. And what does it result into? When we deviate from dharma, whenever we deviate from dharma, the result of it is not naraka somewhere where we go. It is instant. And what is that instant effect? Instant coffee bhi time lagega. But deviation from dharma, tapa traya. Therefore, when we chant our Shanti mantras also, we say the mantra and then end it with 3 times Shanti. Tapatraya prashamanartham trishantayaha. Three shantis for this tapatraya prashamana. Tapatraya vinashaya. He is not talking about the remedial course to be taken where the tapa can be removed, but he is talking about the cause of this tapa, which is papa. I am taking your shelter, I am taking refuge at you, so that at all levels of my functioning, I am not deviating, I stay focused on dharma. Tapatraya vinashaya Śrī Kṛṣṇāya vayam numaha. So this is the offering to Bhagavān himself. Now in this context, who is teaching it to who? Shukadev ji is teaching it to Parikshit. So Shukadev ji becomes the teacher. How is this teacher? Now, Bhagavatam, Mahabharatam are unlike Bhagavad Gita. Any Purana Itihasa, we have to be vigilant. You know the famous saying, రామాయణమంతా విన్న తర్వాత రాముడికి సీత ఏమవుతుంది? पूरा रामायण सुनने के बाद if somebody asks what is Sita to Rama, there's something missing somewhere in the understanding. Why does that happen? There was a movie in the recent past called Inception. Have you seen? Have you heard? There is a dream. In that dream, there is another dream. In that dream, there is another dream. So confusing that you do not know which one is reality. Right? Similarly, in Bhagavatam or any Purana or Mahabharata, Itihasa, there is a conversation happening. There is Shukadev ji speaking to Parikshit. Parikshit asks some question. Then Shukadev ji says, Maitreya Rishi thus spoke to Yudhishthira. So when Yudhishthira asked this question, Maitreya ji said, Brahma ji spoke to Narada. Brahma ji was narrating this story of Shiva and Kartikeya. Kitne layers ho gaye? Suddenly in the narration there is Parvati आवाज है, पार्वती बीच में से कहाँ गई? So there are different layers. Which layer, what is being communicated has to be clearly mapped. Without which it will become a hodgepodge. Avadharana Shakti should be really high. So in this particular conversation, the main Pradhana Vakta Shrota is Shukadev Maharaj and Parikshita. So how is this Shukadev ji? Yam pravrajantam anupeta krityam dvaipayano virahakatara ajuhava putreti tanmayataya taravobhineduhu tam sarvabhuta hridayam munimanatosmi. Munim anatosmi. Natosmi. There is no I. There is salutations being offered to that grand Muni called Shukadeva. It seems in Padma Purana there is a reference of Bhagavān Shiva telling this story to Parvati Devi. Before starting the story, Bhagavān Shiva announces, is there anybody else other than us two hearing us? If so, please step up. See, many times, I'm just going a little tangent, I'll come back to that. Many times in today's world, our norm of values, ethics, morals, and the functionality based out of it is quite warped. Quite a different note, a different tone, different color. It is not to the exact pointed dharma. There is a lot of conveniences that we have developed and we think it is okay. And from this okay standpoint of whatever we are leading, we try to, when we read such stories, we try to evaluate them. Why did Rama do this? Why did Krishna do this? And we have the audacity to ask it that way. If there was Shraddha, the question should have been, we see that Bhagwan Krishna or Rama had done this. What could have been the reason? Can we learn about it? नहीं. भगवान है फिर भी ऐसा क्यों किया? तू कौन होता है पूछने वाला? We have the audacity. From our own warped dharmic standpoint, which is nowhere close to dharma. During the Mahabharata, Bhagavad Gita, other than Krishna and Arjuna, who was the other one that was hearing it live as Bhagwan Krishna was speaking and as Arjuna was asking these questions? Sanjaya could hear it digitally transmitted. Doordarshan. Hanumanji was right there. Yatrat sthito Kapit Dhvaja. Kapit Dhvaja was standing right there. As soon as the 18 days task that he was given, he was requested of, was done, he steps out of the chariot, prostrates to Bhagwan Krishna and says, Kshantavyo me paradha. Bhagwan, forgive my triti, I have committed a mistake. You both were having a conversation. I was there listening to it. I did not take your permission to listen into your conversation. Therefore, what is my prayaschitta? Why do I call ours as a warped dharmic standpoints, convenient dharmic standpoints? In today's world, what would we have said? तुझे मालूम नहीं था क्या? मैं इधर ही खड़ा था. तू बोला था तेरी गलती. You getting the standpoint? We blame the others for having heard. That they were not intelligent enough, having spoken that, knowing very well that there is that. That is not the standpoint. If it is not a conversation between you and them, you either take permission or you leave. So Bhagavan Shiva announces, if other than me and Parvati Devi, if there is any third person here, please announce yourself and excuse yourself. Nobody responds. Midway through, Parvati Devi goes into Bhava Samadhi. The story narrated by Bhagavan was so intense that he went into Samadhi. It is at that time when he observes that Parvati Devi is in Samadhi, but still somebody else is listening and saying, Right around there was this nest where there was a unborn Shuka in a dead egg. Because of this Katha Shravana, the dead egg was enlivened, and that enlivened Shuka, the parrot, was responding to this Shivaji, to the story that he was narrating. Bhagavan Shiva got really enraged. Kshiprakopi, So he sent his Trishula with this unborn jiva of the parent. This fellow ran and took Vyasaji's wife, Vatika Devi's garbha to hide in. This jiva goes and hides there. And it is said that for next 12 years, for the fear of Shiva's Trishula, he said, I am not coming out. I am fine here. But Vyasa Bhagavan saw that this is a Uttama Jiva because there is Vedanada from inside the Garbha. So upon a great request, he says, I just want to see Bhagavan. And he blessed me. I do not care for anything else. Promise me that environment, I will step out. Otherwise, I am fine where I am. रोटी कपड़ा मकान सब है यहाँ पे. So then Bhagavan Krishna is requested and out comes Shukadeva. He prostrates he now does namaskar to Bhagavan Krishna. Bhagavan Krishna picks him up, gives him a big hug. And Shukadeva does not even turn around to say, hi mummy, hi daddy. He doesn't even look at his parents. He just walks out. Bhagavan Krishna is amused watching it. Imagine you are at the airport. Your child is coming after 2 years, 3 years, wherever they have gone. You have gone to pick them up. Without even looking at you, they go sit in the car. And then you look at them, hey, I am here. You have to hear this story from the standpoint of being the parent. Vyasaji, who has written the entire Mahabharata, the Puranas, Upapuranas, and compiled the entire Vedic literature, written Brahma Sutras, even he momentarily with the Putra Vatsalya, he was looking forward to speak to his son. And how is this son? Born Vairagi. If I turn around and get related to all this, I will be in samsara. I don't want any of this samsara. Why? Trishula of Bhagavan will chase me. I don't want to get into that. And he started walking. Yam pravrajantam anupetam apeta krityam dvaipayano virahakatara ajuhav. What is Bhagavan Veda Vyasaji's full name? S.K.D. Vyas. Śrī Kṛṣṇa Dvaipayana Vyasa. He is often referred to as Krishna also. But then you'll have to understand the story at which Krishna is being referred to there. In Mahabharata context, there are 3 Krishnas. 2 Pullinga, 1 Srilinga. Draupadi Devi is also called Krishna. Vyasa is also called Krishna. Śrī Kṛṣṇa Dvaipayana. Dvaipayana, the one who grew up in a dvipa, an island. His mother, who is his mother? Matsyagandha, Satyavati Devi. She was belonging to that fisher folk family which lived in that island. So that island born. Therefore, Dvaipayana. So anybody born, brought up in Sri Lanka can be called Dvaipayana. Why? It's an island. Technically, born and grew up in an island is called Dvipa as Ayana. Ayana, the home, abode. Dvaipayana. Śrī Kṛṣṇa Dvaipayana Vyasa. So this Vyasa Bhagavan, when it is said, Dvaipayanaha Virahakatara Ajuhava, he was eagerly looking for his child for whom Bhagavan Krishna was requested. That fellow is out and he has taken Bhagavan's blessings. And he is not even turning to say, "मैं तेरा पिताजी हूँ यार." And he is walking away. He has gone straight into the forest. So he started calling out loud. His namakarana is also not done. Putra, putra iti. Hey putra. He is not connected with that label. If suddenly, randomly I call out, Amma Savitri, please get up. Who will get up? Anybody here? Thankfully, I took the name where none of you are named that. Whoever is related, associated with that particular name or that particular tag is the one that will respond. Supposing you are Savitri's husband, she is not here, right? You will inform about their absence, right? Neither are you directly tagged or indirectly tagged to the title called Putra. Kaun Putra? Kiska Putra? I am Bhagavan's devotee. I saw Bhagavan. We are connected. Done. Finished. And where are you going? To meditate in the forest. Putreti tanmayataya. As he started shouting for his son, he was so one with nature that the nature responded on behalf of this child who was walking away. The nature started responding, saying, Bhaiya, Vyasji, you let him be. Your son, though born from you, he is not of you. He is connected to that Supreme and he will not respond to you with the tags that you are calling. This story is narrated to show one primary aspect of Shukadevji. Right from birth, he was in that highest state of Vairagya and Dhyana, Samadhi. What an amazing Jiva that he was born in Samadhi. That as soon as he was born, he had darshan of Bhagavan. Such Virakta Mahatma is the Guru. Putreti tanmayataya taravo bhineduhu tam sarva bhuta hridayam. He has become one with the entire nature. Such is this Shukadeva. So having offered salutations to these two, these first 6 chapters, they are taken not from Bhagavatam. They are taken from Padma Purana. In Padma Purana, they talk about the glory and greatness of this Bhagavata Shastra. What is the greatness of Bhagavatam? All of these Puranas have been set in a certain background. What is the background? Supposing you go watch a play stage. So there is a Sutradhara who is connecting the dots, narrating the story. He is the comparer, he is the MC, he is that Sutradhara. So the backdrop for all the narrations in the Purana, the setup has been that there is this bunch of rishis, very accomplished people. They have completed their responsibilities. They have taken to Vanaprastha, one aspect of our Hindu life which is predominantly absent in today's world. Completely absent. Even brahmacharya is so-so. There are bachelors. I refuse to call them brahmacharis. Then there is grihastha ashrama. And there are a handful of us who can be called as the sannyasa ashrama. But the vanaprastha is completely gone. Supposing a human life is for 100 years, having lived the brahmacharya till 25, then you take into the grihastha ashrama for the next 25 years. After 50, when you have your child married and they have their grandchildren, you see them and bid farewell to them, take to a recluse living. So that you can train your mind to focus on the ultimate cause of our life, which is moksha, Paramatma Dhyana. So these rishis were quite accomplished people. Some were businessmen, some were kshatriyas, some were all different fields. They had reached this place called Naimisharanya. In this Naimisharanya, they would perform Tatra Yaga. They would take a particular theme, say Chandi Homa. They would do for one mandala paryanta. Mandala, 41 days. So in the morning, they begin with their Sandhya Vandana, then get into the Yaga Krama. Finish the Purnahuti of that particular day. In the evening, after having eaten the smoke for the entire day, you are doing the Ahuti, so you have been smoked. So as a relief, in the evening, they would gather around this Suta Mahashaya, Romaharshana, and ask him about various stories of various gods and goddesses and their charita, their history, their itihasa, and various devotees that have interacted with that form of god or goddess. The leader of these rishis, his name is Shaunaka. So Shaunakadi Rishi go and speak with Suta Mahashaya, and Sutaji narrates the story of each Purana. So did you get the backdrop of the narration? Because suddenly in between, Shaunaka Uvacha, who is Shaunaka? We should know the reference. That in Naimisharanya, there are this bunch of people that are in Vanaprastha. I am specifically targeting to not use the so-called synonym of the Vanaprastha as a retired. You may be tired, you may be retired, but it is not Vanaprastha. Vanaprastha is a completely different way of life. So to such Shaunakadi rishis, Suta Mahashaya is the teacher. So there is a Vakta, Shrota. So having invoked Shaunakadi rishis, approach Suta Mahashaya, and as has been their tradition of asking various stories. See, that is the beauty of story. Irrespective of the age, if there is a good narrator, everybody wants to listen to a good story. Isn't it? Everybody wants to listen to a good story. आजकल के बच्चे सुनते नहीं है, सुनाने वाले कम हो गए. It doesn't matter what age group you belong to. If there is a good teller, good storyteller, you just drop down everything, jaw dropped also, and get absorbed into the narration. Suta Mahashaya was blessed with such beautiful capacity that he could narrate all these various stories. Even including in Satyanarayana Katha, what is the backdrop? Who is narrating it to who? Suta Maharshi is telling it to Shaunakadi Rishis. Who is this Shaunaka? Who is this Suta? Just narrated the story. In fact, Suta Mahashaya was blessed by Balaramji himself, that may he have the Achanchala Bhakti on Bhagavān, and may he have the capacity to say these stories to anybody that approaches him with Shraddha. And he was found by this Shaunakadi Rishis. They reached. So whatever is the Satrayaga theme that they were doing, so that evening they came to Suta Mahashaya and asked thus. Ajnanadvanta vidvamsa suryakoti samaprabha Sutakhyahi kathasaram mama karna rasayanam bhakti jnana viragaptaha viveko vardhate mahan maya moha nirasaha vaishnavai kriyate katham. Hey Suta Mahashaya, Akhyahi, please tell us. What is the request? Ajnanadvanta vidvamsa. When it is pitch dark. Night is not pitch dark. It is dark, but it is still starlit, moonlit. Street light lit. If you sit on that side at night, you see that the entire area is lit with the light of the building itself. The darkest I have seen is on a ship during Amavasya. You are like a speck in the middle of the ocean. The ship is big, but it feels like a speck. And miles you can't even see the horizon. It is darker than that is the photographer's dark room. They cannot afford to have even tinge of light. The only admissible light is in a very vague corner, one tinge of red light. Otherwise, the entire place is dark. For research purposes, there are places wherein it is so dark that you cannot even see yourself. Scary. In darkness, at least you can see yourself. You know where you are. There are places for research purposes where it is so dark that you can't see yourself. It invokes certain amount of fear. It creates instability. Ajnana dhvanta. That kind of ajnana, ignorance, darkness from within. Vidvamsa surya koti samaprabha. Just finding you in this kind of environment, probably what they meant by this enveloped by darkness, meaning doing Homa and Havan the entire day, What is the darkness that they are in? Probably Swahakara and that smoke, we have been covered. You look like a breath of fresh air, that we get a break from that to hear something beautiful. Now that we found you, Mama Karna Rasayanam. It's only in our religion, our Hindu dharma, where Bhagavān is often referred to, Paramatma is often referred to as Rasa. Rasa means that which is the Sara. There were a few words where the word, when if it is reversed, it still means the same word. Dhara, Radha. Rasa, Sara. The essence is Paramatma. Mama Karna Rasayanam. The story that you have narrated, have always been narrating, is like a medicine to our ears. Do you remember your parents, the kind of music they used to listen to? Do you? It was something nasally music. Talat Mahmud. Jaba dil hi toot gaya. It used to be in that kind of a tone. Ha, Saigal. Even Kishore Kumar has, not Kishore Kumar, Mukesh has sung in that kind of a nasal voice. Then you grew up with a certain music. Now when you hear your children listening to music, the moment you hear that music, what do you exclaim? In whichever language you speak with them, what do you exclaim with that music? In a language that you speak with them, that's why I said. ये ऐसी भाषा में नहीं बोलोगे तो शोर बंद करो. बाबा ये भी ट्राई खोला. What they consider as music, you consider as noise. So is what Shaunaka asking is because he is accustomed to it, therefore he is calling it Karna Rasayana. It doesn't matter who sits there to listen. Their ears will be quenched. It is that kind of Rasayana. It is not dependable on the choice of likes and dislikes of the listener. Irrespective of the listener, it is a Rasayana for the individual. Mama Karana Rasayana. And what are we searching for? What are we seeking here? Bhakti Jnana Viragaptaha Viveko Vardhate Mahan. In that kind of environment, please lead us where it will grow our Viveka. What is the environment where Viveka can grow? Binu Satsanga Vivekana Hoi. Without Satsanga, there cannot be Viveka. Binu Satsanga Vivekana. What does Adi Shankaracharya ji say on this? Satsangatve Nisangatvam Nisangatve Nirmohatvam Nirmohatve Nischalatatvam Nischalatatve Jivan Mukti. It comes in Bhajagopam. Thanks to M.S. Subbalakshmi Amma that every household has heard it, has been hearing it for umpteen number of years. Satsangatve, Viveka happens only in the environment of Satsanga. So whenever, who is the great seeker? When they find an environment opportune, blessed to have a Mahatma, they immediately gather around and say, our blessings that we found a Mahatma, now please enlighten us with this knowledge which will improve, which will bring bhakti, jnana, vairagya, vivekaha vardhate. Because of your presence, because of your satsanga, please narrate us so that we are better than what we are right now. In what aspect? That our bhakti, jnana, vairagya and viveka is constantly increasing. If you ask, why do you require these things? Maya moha nirasa vaishnavaha kriyate katham. In the earlier shloka he said rasayanam. He is calling the samsara of Maya as nirasa, opposite of rasa. That which takes away rasa. In the morning when we wake up supposed to wake up fresh. By the evening, what happens? Batteries go down. How many times has it not happened that you are sitting to relax, watching some TV, holding that remote, and you are woken up by the remote which you are holding falls, slips, hits the floor, waking you up. Oh, मैं सो गया था. Tired, drained out, exhausted. Gen Z likes to use the word burnt out. All means the same. Nirasa. In Telugu we use it whenever